Welcome to the introduction to becoming creators and magicians with Oracles and EFT. It's a certification course. This is an introductory class. We're going to share a lot with you today. This will be exciting. It's also part of our spiritual guide program. I'm Philip Montrose with my wonderful wife and partner, Jane Montrose, with you today, co-directors of Awakenings Institute. And so this is about stepping more fully into your identity as a creator and sacred magician with vast resources and skills, many of them not yet tapped. And we're just discovering a lot of this new right ourselves and sharing this with you. And it's the result of actually a long career of exploring spiritual growth and healing. And this class and the course is for ascending souls. That sounds like you, right? Uh,
Hopefully.
who, who, who want to develop more
Hi,
awareness.
Terry.
Hey, hi, Terry. And more skills that's going to support yourself and in turn support other people. As you may know, we've been in the field for about 33 decades now. We're experts, trailblazers, developing a lot of tools, processes, and spiritual growth. We've had a lot of ahas over the decades, some oh no's too. And those have been good opportunities for growth. You know, when you sometimes go into these uncharted realms, it's exciting and things can show up that you didn't expect, but it's all part of the journey and it's wonderful to do.
Yeah.
And as we'll talk about, the alternative is not very good just staying where you are. Uh, this is part of what we would call a mystery school teaching based on ancient practices of mystery schools that attuned their teachings to the times they were in. And that's what we do here. So we give you specific tools and practices, many of them which we've discovered and updated, that will be very powerful for you to grow spiritually, becoming more aware on your journey into wholeness. Jane, you want to add a little bit to that?
Yeah, we actually, as many of you know, started decades ago because we were stuck in careers that weren't working for us anymore. I was an architect and Philip was an educator. We're still educators. um, but at that time, we were repressing really our life force generally, our voices, our love of life, all of those things were diminishing very noticeably. I remember at the time I felt like my soul was dying, and that wasn't from any kind of teaching I had received. Actually, I just was feeling like I was being drained of all of my life energy. And so it was bad enough that we had to do something different. Philip also was losing his interest in being a conventional educator too. So it was wonderful the way it turned out. Synchronicity came in and showed us the way forward step by step. Like Philip said, we had a lot of trial and error, um, taking a deep dive into healing because we needed a lot of healing. So that's where we went first, to spiritual healing, and of course have always been fascinated with spiritual development and where it was going to take us. I think it's fascinating to me now where we are here. It feels like we're right on the verge of moving, having that ability to move into the fifth dimension, regardless of what's happening out there, that we can create our own reality. We are creators. So that's what we're exploring here. We've found magic in ourselves and in the life that has been waiting to emerge, as I think many of you are sensing that there is something that's emerging that's completely new. And so here we are with some exciting ways that we've developed to accelerate spiritual growth and awaken to ourselves as magnificent spiritual beings and magicians, really. Magicians in that we know that we have an innate power to create. We are creators and we can do things in magical ways, more magical than we ever thought before. So that's all I
Yes,
have to say
yes,
about
and we'll be doing
it.
a new holistic EFT tapping process in this class, and we're going deep into the world of the magician, the sacred magician, the tools. And just that, I want to define that term because it's kind of a packed term. We're talking about the sacred magician, divine magician. And they give you some characteristics, which we'll go a little more into this throughout the introductory class and in depth in the course. The magician would be a collaborator. A collaborator with who? Well, with the divine, with higher beings, versus a sort of a superstitious approach where you're following rules and sort of empty formulas of things. A magician would be heart-centered with deep intention, not just the intention I'm going to hold up my rabbit's foot and all's going to be lucky and fine, but having these sacred tools that have a lot of energy through the ages when you know how to divine and use them, and using them to influence reality, because this is about influencing reality. And we'll talk how science is merges and meshes with science too, this kind of divine sacred magic. It's also very empowering to get to learn these magician tools. It takes some time. It's well worth it. And versus disempowering, just trying to say something because you've been told that if you do this, something good will happen without much awareness. And it also can be very fear-based. I'm saying a prayer or holding an obstacle out of fear or desperation in my situation versus out of love and creativity. And this is all about this class today in our course about becoming a master in the making, awakening to your magnificence. And another way of saying that is we're going to be using real tools for real change, as Bonita Jacques, who's here today and one of our students in the spiritual guide course, said aptly. And that's opening to your power and your voice, allowing it to express itself, allowing this stuff to come through and raising your vibration so you can do that. Um, and it's going to be wonderful in this course, going deeper and exploring these tools. A lot of spontaneity, a lot of discoveries will happen starting in the class today and expanding your sense of reality. What is real? What is possible for you starting right now?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And as Philip said, we're not talking about looking outside of yourself for anything. We're actually a true magician is a person who understands that we're creating with our thoughts and feelings all the time. So, how can we expand on that and make it more powerful and effective uh, for those who've been with us in the spiritual guide program? We've been using Oracle and Tarot cards, and we're going to be using them again because these are tools that can help um, to make everything that we're to accelerate or to make everything stronger and more effective. And uh, so that's where we're going with it all, um, expanding and embracing potential for achieving a more fifth dimensional approach, which we'll be discussing. We'll be using healing processes as we generally do, including holistic EFT and more. And of course, using the oracles and the tarot. And many of you who have been using them probably also have sensed that they hold an energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that got me going with this. We've used radionics since the 90s, probably maybe even the late 80s, which is radionics devices are supposed to uh, be able to send vibrations to to given individuals or wherever you want to send them. So we're drawing on that whole idea that you can actually uh, add more power to the vibrations that you want to foster, that you want to nurture, that you want to add more energy to, so that you can shift your vibration. And it all is essentially a process. When we're talking about ascension or rising into the fifth dimension, it's a process of shifting vibration. It's a vibrational process. So how can we raise our vibration more easily and understand ourselves more? And of course, we do all of this with the support of these divine beings of light who are always around us, the angels, the masters, the Elohim. We'll be talking more in this course that's coming up about also nature, accessing nature. And the Elohim, there are different opinions on them, but the Elohim, the way we understand it, they're the builders. So they're the ones that guide all of the processes of creation down through the natural realms. We've connected with them before, and we have tools that we're going to use to do that in this course too. They're very powerful spiritual beings. Of course, there are many benefits transitioning into a higher frequency, a higher frequency way of living in harmony with another topic that's going to be an integral part of what we're discussing in the coming course, which is divine law or universal law. It's a key in itself for living fully and connecting with the divine, living in harmony with the divine, and feeling, I think, more happy and integrated with life itself. So we'll be accessing those things. Something else that we've been working with, and I imagine all of you have too, wherever you are, because you're in a similar place to us. Oh, hi, Sunny. I didn't see you until now. Good to see you. Good to see everybody, of course. Anyhow, time becomes more fluid. We find ourselves rushing around all the time and realize it's not about that. It's about being in the flow with life, being in the flow with the divine. And then vibration becoming kind of like your primary language, waking up in the morning and understanding what you can do in that moment. Actually, the moment, and I'll be talking about this at the very end of the class today, so stay tuned for that. That's one of the most powerful moments of the day before you wake up your your normal waking brain. When you're in a more relaxed and receptive state, you can set the stage by, I want to be living today in harmony with the divine. I want to be living in harmony with the creator who I am. So we have just simple things that you can do like that. Allowing peace, joy, love, all of those things that we talk about all of the time to be more of your natural state. I know that we've talked about this for years, and I'm sure everybody here has. And at the same time, we all know that there can be more of that. And along with that, being less triggered by those things that take us away from it, like fear of loss or fear of people or fear of whatever it is, not having enough money, fear of all of these things that can trigger us, and just realizing none of that is real. It's the illusion. So seeing through the illusions is I think a very important part of the whole thing. Only taking what's spiritually true to be what you're integrating into your life. And of course, the tools that we're talking about here and processes can help to keep you on course and increase your powers. Anyhow, before we go any further, I'd like to start out after talking a bit with what I generally like to do, which is to bring our energy together, and just to take a moment. A simple moment can help us all to be more in our bodies, more present in the moment. And the key is breathing, to take our minds out of our heads and into the breath. And if you feel like you want to, and you're in a place where it's safe to do so, not driving, for those who are listening at other times, just closing your eyes and breathing. So breathing in the most amazing love and light from the universe around you. And then as you exhale, letting go. So imagine just anything that's heavy or dense, just allowing it to drift down into the earth where it can be neutralized. So you can breathe in more light with every breath. Just the most beautiful, nurturing breaths. And as we breathe, I want to actually invite in one of the Ascended Master Saint Germain, who is one of the leaders actually in opening us all to this new age that's before us. And Saint Germain generally is perceived as coming in with a violet energy, like the violet flame, which we'll talk about also. But you can just, if you're open to it and want to, just ask Saint Germain to bless you with a cascade of loving light. And again, you might perceive it as a color, like it might seem like it's a violet, a beautiful, could be the most beautiful imaginable violet color. You might feel the energy shifting and feel the love. We all experience these inner states in different ways. So it's just opening to what you notice. You might receive a message. And so at this point, we just want to ask him to be with us today and sense ourselves together. Even though we're in different places, we are together in this moment together in our bodies, letting go of all those things that we don't need right now so we can just enjoy it. And with that, we'll open our eyes again and continue on. I'm curious, Philip, if you noticed anything you'd like to mention with
Yeah, it's
Saint
just
Germain.
always wonderful to connect with Saint Germain, who's he's a very positive, actually sort of humorous guy if you get to know him from certain sides, just the lightheartedness to sort of see through the heaviness of our everyday 3D reality and seeing that there's a brighter side, a greater possibility available to us. It's sort of like looking through a stormy day and saying, it's stormy, things are terrible, they're never going to be nice again. And then we know the sun is there and it comes back out. And, what did we learn when we were in that stormy period? We actually maybe learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, as I mentioned, Saint Germain is a central figure ushering in the new age. And he also has often been depicted as a magician, um, having actually been known as Merlin in Arthurian legend, for those who are interested in that, and the mysteries of Avalon. Um, he's frequently associated with immortality, alchemy, and the ability to perform extraordinary feats that have been described as magical.
Hmm.
As Philip mentioned, none of this is about superstition. This is about experience and experiencing yourself. The creator is in you. The creativity, the ability, the magic is in you. So, I forgot to
Yeah,
have
and
to.
wanted to talk a little more about the divine magician since that's part of our class today, and it's a part of the theme of the upcoming course beginning September 10th on becoming a creator and magician with Oracles and EFT. So this is
Oh,
about
can
real,
I just wanted
yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mute my phone and it wouldn't somehow stop that call from coming through. Um, yeah, I wanted to point out one other thing before we go further, that we're drawing on an important contrast between two realities. Um, Looking at the story so many people tell themselves, and I think we're all somewhat subject to it at least, the illusion that we live in an unfriendly world where we're victims of forces that are greater than ourselves, and that fear is an important part of what we need to experience, rather than understanding the truth that we are creators. We actually live in a friendly world and a friendly universe that is just looking to support us if we can shift our vibration into a place where, um, we're more true to ourselves and where we
Hmm.
can receive the blessings, which is actually, it's all about rising out of that illusion of that the world is a fearful place and that we're just victims. It's so interesting when you think of how, so many people are in society, that it's very clear that victimization is, one of the big kind of big features of our reality. And yet, if we look at the idea of ascension and spiritual growth and rising into the fifth dimension, it's a completely different place where we're in touch with the divine, and our whole reality shifts with that. So it's really I think in the end, it's primarily a factor of where you want to be
Hmm.
and to take whatever steps are necessary to get into that place. And of course it should be joyful, right? We're wanting to move into a more joyful, more loving, more peaceful, um, more supportive place. So we tend to approach it in that way, that we can transcend that illusion of separation and limitation and fear and rise above it into a place where we are truly creators.
To see beyond all the fragmentation and separateness that is common in our everyday reality here. And
Right.
that doesn't mean that that's not going on externally, but it's how you respond to it. And that's part of becoming a divine magician, a way of transcending. So think about that. Would you like to have more tools? Would you like to have more abilities to become that powerful creator who you really truly are by claiming that? And by looking inside yourself for this sacred source of magic so you can activate it uh, and use the tools. The magic is in you, and you use the tools to help you activate the magic. And Jane mentioned we'll be going more into the universal laws. You come in harmony with it, like the law of vibration, one of them. So if you're vibrating at a place where even though there may be challenges, say for yourself personally or in society, which there certainly is, how can you look at it from a place of more unity, more love, more compassion? How can you see it from that point of view? Because that's really empowering yourself and raising your vibration, and also has an influence on your outer world too. And science has shown that
Right.
as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole idea.
Yeah,
Is that how that's how our world changes?
because these higher states and the infinite, the creator is within you. It's not out there, it's in you. And so it's getting in touch with that, which means shifting your perspective into this, say, higher reality, sometimes called a fifth dimensional reality. And places where there is no physicality in a higher realm is different, we know, than in this 3D where there's physical things. I mean, we have to obey the laws of gravity and so forth. Though in our mind, we can see ourselves flying. We may not be doing that in our external world, of course, but there are many things that we can view completely differently by the way we're seeing it. Instead of half empty, half full, or see it the whole glass. So I want to just point out some key elements to becoming this divine magician. Have a slide here for you to go over them because I think they're kind of important to make a note of this. So the keys to following your heart, which is becoming, will help you become the divine sacred magician, is knowing where you want to go. Do you want to have a more creative reality? Do you want to accomplish your life purpose? Do you want to use your skills and talents? Okay, understand your relationship with universal laws and the path to 5D, which is what we've been starting to talk about in this introductory class. Accessing the right resources. How do you do this? What do you need? What do you need to learn? What tools do you need to have? And then how do you use them, which we're going to teach you step by step in the course how to do that. Deepening the love and awareness of your soul's true identity. When you start to see yourself as a being of love, as part of the universe, a part of everything, that's very different from seeing yourself separate and as a victim. And we all have that victimhood. We know exactly what that means. And it's something, fortunately, we can transcend. And another key is to have a group of people helping you. That makes it a
Yeah.
lot easier and more possible. It's much more difficult being alone, and then you're already in this alone place, like it's only me and no one else is there. But we're all here together in this class and course, which the last part is opening to a whole new perspective. And Jane and we've been doing this for decades, but just in recent months, we've been opening our perspectives again with the universal laws and developing these magician tools, which we're introducing today. So that's very exciting, um, and where we can possibly go with all of that. So The big challenge is transcending the ego. There's a part of us that says, no, you don't understand, Philip. I am a victim. No, I don't want to change. I am afraid to go there. I am afraid to do something different. What would people say? No one else is doing this, et cetera, i.e., fear, conformity, um, wanting to be in control versus taking charge. That's an important concept we're going to be exploring and embracing today and going forward in this 4-month course starting September 10th. How do you take charge of your reality? How do you have an open mind and open heart rather than trying to manage the outcomes? How do you open to the flow of the outcomes to being in the moment and where you're being led and guided to do so without having to know exactly what's going to happen because you can't, right? So you want to understand your relationship again with these universal laws, which are going to help guide you and have people, including higher beings, that will connect in the course through meditations and oracles and such. So that's the difference. You want to shift into this more being in command, taking charge of your reality. And we're
Can
going to
I
shift.
can I share a little bit on that
Yeah,
just
go ahead, Jane.
to for clarification? I think what Philip is talking about, the way that I understand it, is the ego in us, the wounded ego, which feels like it has to make things work for us, but is really what's holding us down. It feels like it has to be in charge. So if you imagine yourself driving down the road and you're in a car and the ego is in charge, driving from fear and anger and frustration and anxiety, taking you to all of those places, because whatever we're vibrating, we're going to see in some way out in our reality. Um, what what we're aiming for is to take the ego out of the driver's seat and put the soul, actually the magnificence in you, the truth of who you are, actually as a master in the making, put that part of you in the driver's seat and make that part, put that part in command. You could say, like, we're not taking charge, we're in command of who we are, and actually allowing the divine, allowing the infinite, the creator, God to guide us. We're on God's journey now.
Right.
We're on that journey into the infinite, not following again and again um, the ego's fears. So I think it's a really important point, um, and I think a powerful one. We're going to do we're going
Yeah,
to do
we're going to do an
the
example
process
here.
is going to be on it
Yeah, a quick
today.
example.
So with
Just
EFT, and it's a really fun one actually.
a quick example just the other day, say, and this is just a minor thing, but it can illustrate what we're talking about. I went to get a cup of coffee, and as it so turns out, like they were out of coffee and they had to refill the coffee machine or whatever. So out of my momentum, like there was a moment like, oh, I have to wait. There's sort of a little reaction to there. So that's kind of sort of natural in a way, but kind of egoistic too. Like say, why isn't my coffee ready right away? Give me my coffee. Uh, and but
Not in
in
the
the
flow, huh?
not quite in the flow, but in that moment, I changed my perspective and opened up and just said, okay, I'll just kind of hang out and relax and take a look around and appreciate people that are serving me and the work they're doing and that I can have a nice cup of coffee and I'll enjoy it and maybe enjoy it more. So I completely shifted my perspective actually into a higher perspective from this little quote disappointment and not being in control anymore, but taking charge of my life.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
So we like to do innovative processes, are getting through processes with EFT tapping. We've been doing this for many years and written some books on EFT as well. And a new one we just came up with is called the Control Monster Reframe, that part that wants to control ourselves that we've been referring to. And you may see your monster shift. I saw my monster be a big Hulk, squeezing me in a vice to by the end of it just being a little tiny gnat on the floor, and just sort of it can be amusing. But anyways, Jane's going to take us through this EFT or with maybe Bonita demo of Control Monster Reframe with EFT tapping.
Right. Right. Were you going to show the chart of emotions and all of that?
Oh yeah, the one other chart. Yeah, let
Yeah,
me
because I think that
that
this
one.
is really helpful in understanding vibrations. If you haven't seen anything like that, there,
Okay,
uh,
yeah,
uh,
let's show
we're
that.
on a journey from fear to love. Obviously, that's nothing new, probably to most, um, and there are many places in between.
Yeah, so this chart comes from Lazarus, a channeled source, which we like, and this is kind of one of the many uh, ways of looking at the different emotions and the levels to them. He calls them imprisoning or contracting the lower emotions, fear, jealousy, blame, and in between he gives sort of boredom, frustration, worry, doubt that are not quite as intense. And without going all, but all, over all of them, I want to highlight the expansive one on his tiers, like layers, tiers of emotion. And those are the meta emotions, the positive emotions that we've been referring to, and then the higher dimensional emotions, where it's well-being, it's optimism, it's enthusiasm, it's hope, passion, happiness, and love. So that's a way of kind of charting where are we, and we can spend more time in those expansive emotions. And when we get into the contracting ones, we can say, hey, there's something here that this is teaching me to overcome and transcend.
Right. And when we're looking at creating with our thoughts and feelings, the things that we're going to create most powerfully are the things that have the most powerful feelings connected with them. So if we go into like this horrible kind of anger and fear and whatever, um, if it's really strong, that's a very strong creative energy. And of course, I realize, and we all find ourselves there at times. But just to understand that what we want to do actually is to focus more on feeling those expansive emotions very strongly. Like I'm excited, I'm enthusiastic, I'm exhilarated by all of these things that are happening in my life to bring a lot of energy behind it. And so we'll be focusing on that more too.
So are we ready for our demonstration of the control monster reframe with EFT?
Well, we were going to do the soul centering and opening to the magic within.
Doing
That
that
was
first?
the
Okay.
the next thing that I was going to be doing.
Okay, go ahead.
This is for everybody who knows this. Everything starts in the heart, and I think it's more than just us. It's everything starts in the heart because this is where the creator resides in us. So the infinite, however you want to describe it, it's here. Um, and we are creators because of that, because the creator resides in us. If not for that, then we couldn't accomplish anything. But you can verify that it's true because if we were not creators, we would not have the capacity to change anything, right? We might as well just say, okay, I'm a victim. I have no capacity to change anything in my life. But I think we all know we do, and probably all of you are getting some wonderful results with us with this. What we want to do is to expand on it. But it all starts at the same place because if you're not in that place of connectedness with who you are, then you're not going to be able to generate energy behind that to create the life that you really want. And just going through this process, which this is what we learned actually, the thing that really changed things for us back when we first started to learn healing too, the process we call soul centering. So we're going to do that right now together. And so if you feel guided to, if you're open to closing your eyes again and just allowing yourself to begin to breathe in that amazing love and light from the universe around you again. Also, opening to the realization that we're being surrounded by angels and guides and masters, amazing beings of light who are always here with us. And I think one of the most important parts too of the journey is to allow them to play the roles that they're ready to play in our lives. So we can just allow them to bless us with love and light as we breathe in that beautiful energy, and again releasing with the exhale. So you can just imagine anything that's dense leaving your space. So we have a body and we also have a ball of energy around us. That's our energy field. And asking, this is something I think that's worth doing every day too, and in the morning is good. Just asking any energy that is not your own to leave your space, sending it back where it came from. And this is important because we're bathed in all of this energy of, you could say, the mass consciousness, all of the uh, the fears and anxieties and angers and frustrations that are going on around us. So we just want to send any of that and any energy that's being projected to us personally, which does happen. Just send it all back where it came from with love. And this is so that you can have just your own energy in your space. And you have every right to do this as a creator, to ask for that energy to go back where it came from and not just live with it. So you might do that and you might feel a little lighter just doing that. And then with that, you're making space for more of your own energy. So you can ask for any of your own energy that you've left in other times or places with other people to come back to you now in this moment, so you can have more of you here. And just feel that. I generally feel the energy coming in. You might notice it or just sense it or see it in your inner eye. And then notice if you feel more present in your body than you did when we started, just with that simple thing. And just feeling a relief, letting go of all of that. A lot of times we think it's us. We have this energy that's incoherent or negative, whatever it is, and we don't know it's not even us. So now being yourself in your body, connecting with that love in your heart. And one simple way to do it is focus on someone or something that you can love unconditionally, like divine love. It might be another person, a pet, might be a thing. It might be a plant that you just love, or even a food. Oh, it's the vibration that we're looking for. So just focus on something that you really love and breathe that in, opening to the love in your heart and allowing that love to strengthen and intensify and radiate out into all of the cells of your body and then out all around you. And now this is a good time to envision your soul in the driver's seat. So you're driving down the road of life, the spiritual journey, the spiritual path. And the soul is in command. The ego isn't even in the car anymore. We honor it. We honor that physical part of ourselves and all of the wounds that it might have held. And the goal, the way that I understand the goal with the ego, is to bring it more into balance so that it can be a supporter for us on the journey. So you could say there's a name for it. What is it, Philip? I can't remember. It's supportive ego. We actually need to
positive ego, or the
we need to have that part of us that can kind of help us to maneuver in this reality. So this is what we're aiming for, putting the soul in the driver's seat and also having the ability to get around here in 3D. And then noticing again, asking the angels to bless us with light. the love that comes from angels is so supportive in raising our vibration and understanding what divine love is. And they're always here. We'll be talking more about specific ones in as we go along here. But for now, you can ask for angels for anything. Like, I'd like an angel right now to support me with feeling more empowered, or feeling more healthy, or more youthful, or whatever it is that you want. They're here. So, Philip, anything you want to add to that?
No, that seems good.
Okay, wonderful. So here we are in harmony with the divine.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back, it's always helpful to have your feet grounded, or just imagining they're touching the ground, or having them firmly on the floor. And then breathing in more active energy, intentionally coming back, bringing your brain back to a more active waking state. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and open to your full potential. Anyone want to share? Anything you noticed?
I noticed a couple of synchronicities this morning. My first thought was judgmental of myself rather than connecting to the higher. And I was already starting my day then with judgment. And then when I noticed that and opened, I could make another choice. And
Right.
then began to ask, and the information I got as I wrote it out was to be in the flow, which matched exactly what you were talking about. And then I got music. I get music often as a message, and it was
And
calling
Terry's a
up.
beautiful music or singer, actually, too, musician. So very
And
special.
the song that dropped in was "Calling All Angels."
Oh,
I
wow.
need a sign, and it brought me to tears, but how perfect, because it was beginning the day's session with you would already be in that place of receptivity.
Well,
So
thank
thank you
you.
for that.
Oh, yeah, thank you. And it's an example. We are creators.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think that they don't have the capacity to change. Whatever is happening, they think that's what they have to go with. And we don't. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And before we do the control monster reframe with EFT, just a quick note that, as I mentioned, there's a lot of science correlating to becoming a magician. It may seem unusual, but the idea is our thoughts and feelings and intention can influence our reality. And of course, that would affect our health, right? It's been shown in psychoneural immunology. Pretty hard to say that, but that's a scientific branch about your immune system is going to be healthier if your thinking and feelings are healthier. Quantum physics about what you observe affects your reality. Epigenetics, how you can turn genes on and off by what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Heart math and coherence studies, your heart, the rhythms of your heart by your breathing and how you're feeling. When it's smoother, you have more adaptability and resilience. So science has studied this quite a bit. So we could do a very brief exercise here about helping you change, because part of changing is your motivation. All of this is wonderful and beautiful, but if you don't use it, then what's going to happen? Maybe not too much. And this little quick exercise might help you get some insights for yourself about realizing your full potential. So the first part, measuring 1 to 10, how strong 10 is strong, is how much do you want to change? How much do you want to become more of a creator? or magician if you're open to using that term like we've described it, a divine magician in your life. How close to 10 is it? So notice that, and as you make a note mentally or write it down, what's the feeling like? You know, for me, of course, it's very strong and it makes me feel very energized and optimistic. Okay, looking otherwise, let's say you take the part of yourself that doesn't want to change that we've been talking about. There is that part, the part that's just going to stay the way I am. I'm going to be this way. Your arms are folded. You can't make me.
Right.
Everything's fine. And, I'll be this way. We could talk to you next year and you'll be exactly where you are now, as far as making progress for the creator and magician. And that's okay. It's free will. You can do whatever you want. But if you're in that place, notice how you feel emotionally then, 1 to 10, what kind of emotions are coming up. For me, it's feeling very unsettled, very heavy, very actually hopeless. If I didn't feel like I could go on with my life and explore, even if there is, quote, a risk, the risk, a lot of it is imaginary too. But that's part of the joy and excitement, isn't it? The thrill. Okay.
Yeah, the thought of settling, I think, is interesting.
Settling.
Like the choice of, well, can I settle for this or would I like that?
Yeah.
Did you want to say something, Terry?
I found resistance. It's not that I don't want or believe that creation is possible or that I want to be a creator. It's I have an unhealed place, I think, from someone I studied with, and it's caused me to doubt myself. So it's not that I don't desire, it's put a wrench in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what you pointed out, Terry, is common to us all. We have these different voices, these different parts, which we'll explore. And the idea is, which one do you strengthen? Which one do you prioritize and put energy into? And again, that's why we have this course, why we can get together, because we're going to strengthen the part that wants to become a creator and magician. Is the doubt, the doubting Thomas, oh Lord, why hast thou forsaken me? Is that part going to still be there? Yes, it will be there, but it will be much more
And we
time.
can do healing too.
Yeah, we're going to do healing on that stuff too.
Right.
So anyway, so thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah.
So that
Another thing, can I say something else on that?
Go ahead.
One of the reasons for doing that heart centering or soul centering, which I started to do when we learned it, this was probably 1989, a few years ago.
A little while
but we've
back.
had a little bit of experience with it. Is if you ask, Terry, if you ask your heart truly, if any of that is true, that you should be doubting yourself, what do you notice?
Mm. I get in touch with the wounding of the heart, that it was a seed that was planted.
Right.
Yeah.
But is it true?
Physically. Is
Right.
it true?
Is it true that you're not the magnificent person we suggest you are? The part of you that doubts would say it that whatever it's saying is true. Because all of the parts of ourselves think they're doing the best they can for us. The important thing is to connect, with the part that knows.
Right.
With God in you.
Yeah.
Can you get a sense of that?
Yes.
And what would that part say about all of that?
I'm grateful for the distinction of and the awareness of where that was planted and how that runs interference. It's also shows me what needs to be attended to.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I stop there, it's a barrier. But if I go deeper and higher, then there is another reality.
Mm-hmm.
Well
Right.
said. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is a good segue into our process today on the control monster reframe. Jane?
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for just for being honest and
Yes,
for
thank you,
sharing,
Terry.
Terry, because I know that's not easy either, um but we do, you know, when you reach into that higher sense of what's in your heart, you know, we know. And I think that's what happened to me as I started asking, well, who am I really? And I would write it down. And it would be a completely different thing than what I had been telling myself. And I felt like I was this deeply flawed, you know, kind of horrible person. It was so bad. I remember I I was ashamed. I thought anybody who is spiritually aware is going to know what a flawed person I am. So it was like I had to hide myself from being shown, when actually each of us is a uniquely magnificent being. And I know, well, Terry, I know from your singing, which is how we met, just how beautiful you are. You know, and everyone here. I don't know all of you well, but those I know, I can feel that uniqueness in each one. And even if I don't know a person, I know it's there.
Right.
And that's what we want. That's why we want to have that contrast and say, well, do I want that? You know, or do I want this? You know, and actually be able to celebrate myself and my life. I think that's so wonderful to be able to do that. So anyhow, so and this that does bring us to the control monster. It's like a part of you like that, um, going back to that idea that all of the parts of ourselves think they're doing the best they can to keep us, whatever it is, safe, and you know, to be realistic, to, you know, to help us. And some of them just are misinformed. You know, we have bought into an illusion of separation and limitation and all of these other things that go with it, that we have this opportunity now to transcend. And I think that uh, and you know, there's that phrase, the force is with you, or the force is with me, you know, the Star Wars kind of thing.
Mhm.
the the tide is on our side now. You know, we're moving into this new age, and actually those of us who are wanting to rise to the occasion are very much valued, because our vibration, when we can vibrate from love and uh, from joy and peace and harmony, and a place of blessing others and all of that, we're a gift to the world. And if that's what we want, that's an opportunity that we have, you could say, from being in command of your life, allowing that spiritual being in you to be in command. So what we want to do then, the idea of a control monster, and we've done several of these different monsters, fear monster, you know, the prosperity monster, which is really the kind of like the poverty monster. Whatever that part is for you, whatever part of it's that part, the control monster that feels like it has to stay in control, because if it doesn't, your whole world would fall apart, which is actually true in a very different way than it might imagine.
In a good way.
Right. In a good way. We want to look at that. And Bonita, does that bring up anything that you could look at, that kind of just to
Well,
share?
interestingly, yes.
What do you know?
Well, I did some work on myself yesterday of wanting to clear the path for partnering with the divine in my work and in everything that I do. And
That's a
I,
beautiful phrase. Clear the path for partnering
I
with the
pulled a
divine.
card from the mystical shaman to help me
Oh,
put it
it
together.
helped you. Yeah.
Yes.
An oracle deck we use in our
Yes.
course, yeah.
And what came up when I went into the Akashic Records was a past life where I was a missionary in Jamaica, and I was killed. I was bringing Christianity to the native people there, and um, it caused me not to trust the divine.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so there's that fear of, if I stay small, I will be safe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have to stay in control, because if you just let yourself go, then what
Yeah,
would happen?
right.
Then you could be killed, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think actually many of us have had those experiences in
Oh,
past
yes.
lives. So many women have been burned at the stake, we've been beheaded or beheaded, many different things. There are many gory stories like that. And it's real. I mean, this is something real that is living in us, and that actually is doing its best to protect us so that we don't get killed again, right? Yeah. So thank you for that. So when you're focusing on that, how strong is the fear?
Probably a 7.
Mm-hmm. And where do you feel it in your body?
Solar plexus.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. Okay. What do you feel there?
I just feel a heavy ball of like energy in my stomach.
Mm-hmm. And how strong is that heaviness?
About an 8.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you were to imagine that part of yourself that has that fear, that wants to stay in control, what would that control monster look like? Before you answer, I want to just frame this, because it's really important to understand how powerful images are. Also, images are like holograms. It's actually, if you have a control monster, also it's a reality in itself. And so if we can understand what that reality is composed of, then we have a better chance of shifting it. So with that in mind, Benita, what would you say that control monster looks like?
A big furry bear-like thing.
Bear
Not like a real bear, but like a
like
cartoon
monster.
bear.
Mm-hmm. How big is it?
Um, well, he's way towering over me. So let's say 8 feet
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and wide.
Mm-hmm. And this is one thing we can see when we look at the images of these monsters, because generally they're controlling us because they're bigger than we are. So they actually they help us to buy into that idea that we are victims, because these big monsters are looming over us, and they won't allow us to take command. So anything else about that you'd want to mention?
Well, he's not snarling or anything. He looks like he's just in control.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been very placid, so I just went along with it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, how does he exert control? Just by size?
That's a really good question. Well, by size for one, and he's got his foot on me. Like
Oh,
I
well.
can't get away. I can't escape.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wonderful.
he just seems very peaceful sitting there with his foot on me.
He's happy.
He's not going anywhere.
Well, he's in control.
Right.
Yeah.
Very confidently in control. Okay, anything else you'd like to mention before we do the EFT?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. And when we do this, when I'm working with a client, I generally tap along. Even if you don't have anything, tapping just generally moves energy. And if you notice, if you have something that you're dealing with, you can just tap through that while we're doing it. So we'll start with the affirmation. So even though you have this fear, or even though this monster is looming over you, what would you like to say?
Let's go with the monster.
Okay, even though this monster is looming over you, or even though this monster is looming over me, we'll say, I still can love and appreciate myself, or I still can, what is there a phrase that you'd like to add at the end?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. And so you can actually tap on the side of your hand like that. Another thing you can do is, if you feel like it, is just cross your hands over your heart. That's another way of doing it, which I'm going to do. And just say, so you can say it 3 times, Bonita, and you can also adjust it. You can say different things, whatever comes to you. So even though I have this monster looming over me, I still can love and accept myself.
Even though I have this monster looming over me, I still can love and accept myself. Even though I have this monster with his foot on me and he's not going to, I can still love and appreciate myself. Even though this monster's standing over me, I can still love and appreciate myself.
Wonderful. So then with that, we're going to start tapping on the top of the head. Just could say monster, or just some kind of a simple phrase.
Monster.
Monster.
Release.
Inside of the eyebrow. Can say, yeah, release. You could say
Release
monster.
the monster. Yeah, release.
Yeah, release monster.
Yeah.
Then outside the side of the eye.
Release
and if this is new, you can tap 5 to 10 times on each spot with a couple of fingers, just lightly below the eye.
Release
and
monster.
Breathing nicely. Then below the nose.
Release monster.
Chin.
Go away, monster.
Collarbone.
Release monster.
And then inside of the body, it's kind of like giving yourself a nice hug.
Release monster.
And then you can tap on we do what we call the reset, just tapping with your whole hand across touching both sides of your brain. Taking a nice breath. I know that anything is possible.
I know that anything is possible.
And then tapping on the chest, and magic is happening now.
It's happening now, and I'm kicking the monster to the curb.
And then just take a nice breath so your energy can reconfigure, and let me know what you notice now.
He's like teddy bear size, sitting next to me. So he has given up. No, I have taken back control.
Good.
I want to say he's given up control. I have taken control. And now it seems silly that he even had control.
And what would you like to say to the teddy bear? How big is the teddy bear?
18 inches, maybe 12 inches. So small.
What would you like to say to him?
I understand why you were helping out my past life character, but I've got this. I can take care of it now.
Wonderful. What does he say? I'm curious.
He's just sitting there. He's just a teddy bear.
He's happy being a teddy bear?
Apparently.
Good. So going back to the fear, what do you notice now? It was a 7 when you started.
Like a 2.
Okay. And the heaviness in your solar plexus was an 8.
It's probably a 2 as well.
Okay. Would you like to do the floor to ceiling eye roll?
Sure.
Okay. And this is just an old EFT process where you tap right in that little space between on the hand, between the little finger and the ring finger, continuously tapping on it, and then holding your head straight forward, starting with your gaze looking as low as you can to the floor, and then gradually raising your eyes up, about 5 or 10 seconds until you're looking as high as you can. You might notice yourself breathing. And then stop. And what do you notice now, Bonita, with the fear?
It's zero. There's nothing there.
Wonderful. And this generally seems to work from my experience, at least. I use it a lot. That little floor to ceiling eye roll. So what do you feel now? What would you say about being a missionary and being killed, if you look at that part of you back?
Well, my rational mind would say, well, you pick that for yourself.
Meaning what?
That I set that up for that lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that would have been my choice that experience would have been my choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a different choice for this lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Right. And vibrating differently, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a different time.
Right.
I've had some of those past lives myself, and yeah, we're in a different time.
I can feel my frequency is much higher.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we have so much more support now too. I think from beings like Saint Germain and all of these angels who are available. They weren't always as available as they are now. Some not at all. So we're in a time that's quite a blessing for us, those of us who want to raise our vibration and shift into a different reality where things can be wonderful in ways that we never imagined even possible before.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
Should we? Thank you, Bonnie. That was wonderful. That was a great example.
Thank you, Bonita.
Should we put a handout of the how-to on this process in the resource section for people in the course?
Well, we don't have control monster reframe exactly.
Yeah.
You could create one if you want, or
we'll adapt it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we're going to. Well, we have for all of these courses resource pages that have all kinds of wonderful things in them. So
instructional step-by-step templates and handouts and things.
Yeah. Anyone else want to comment on that?
Yeah. Any ahas or comments or questions on the control monster reframe? Taking back control.
Oh, Sunny. Yes.
Taking
Hi, Sunny.
charge. Hey, Sunny.
Whenever Bonita does a practice, I really resonate, and I have great experience too. So thanks, Bonita, for volunteering. Yeah. So mine was very different from any other monster I've ever experienced. It was like a big, long, like a wooden monster with 2 long, skinny legs. It was like a tree. But that appeared, and what I did, and I love trees, so I've never had bad experience. And it was so tall I couldn't see the face, but even before we went in EFT, I just saw myself grabbing an axe and started cutting from the feet. I didn't even look up. I didn't care. I just started cutting, and I cut this monster into pieces and set it on fire. And what this monster actually represents is my dad. He is 86 and he's disabled, and I've had a lot of karma with him. He was we didn't have a relationship, not a good one, or if any, but then he got really ill and he survived, and I check on him. I'm the reason that he survived, taking care of him and everything. So my fear is him affecting my future life and how long he's going to be around. And I want the karma to be done and not being a burden on me. And so that was the monster. And amazingly, after
That
EFT,
fear, you mean?
my dad and I, the karma between us, yes.
Hmm.
And then when I opened my eyes and what I saw was ashes. And I felt like, especially with Saint Germain, and I saw Archangel Zadkiel too, that was like set on, violet fire, and everything was just like huge monster of worries that what's going to happen? Am I going to be a caregiver for him for a long time, or are we almost done with the karma? I feel like that karma has been cleansed and clear and burnt by, the violet flame. So it was a
Beautiful.
really good,
Oh, good.
yes, really good and comforting experience.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
have goosebumps, Sunny. When you
Thanks
say
for
that.
sharing that, Sunny.
Thank
That's
you so
powerful.
much.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, we are at the closing here we know some people are already going forward with the Becoming Creators and Magicians course that starts September 10th very soon, and other people will be joining. Just to tell you some details about the course, it's one of 3 courses in the Spiritual Guide program. And this next one, September 10th, Becoming Creators and Magicians with Oracles and EFT. And there's another 4-month course after that, Abundance with Archangels and Angels, Spiritual Awakening with the Akashic Records with Oracles and EFT. 3 separate courses. You can take one or all of them for a spiritual guide certification if you take all 3, or getting certified in this next one, Becoming Creators and Magicians, starting there. And what you're going to experience, and I think you all got a taste of this today, we're very practical and hands-on. I know it's a rather metaphysical subject, becoming creators and magicians, but it only makes sense to us if it's practical and tangible, and we can use it in our everyday lives and craft these tools that you can use and share them to help yourself and others. So you're going to accelerate your spiritual growth, access higher dimensions and guides and masters, enlightened masters, be able to trust your intuition. This is a lot about your intuition, and we know all of you here are very intuitive. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of ways to develop your intuition with trainings and intentional, and this course specializes in that. So it's a great opportunity. We'll use unique healing techniques like EFT. We did one today, the clear issues and karma. You're going to deepen your love and awareness of your soul's true identity, seeing yourself, like Bonita's beautiful example, seeing yourself as a loving person in this life instead of being, subject to others who are going to pursue you or put you down and take control of you and crush your gifts, but finding a way of transcending that. And part of that is connecting with a supportive, like-minded community. And I don't know if some people have been in the course or in the course, if you want to just share a little bit what it's like to be in these courses for people who are new, either watching this on replay or live today, it'd be great to share it, to give a taste of it.
Well, I think there's only one that hasn't been in these courses with us. So you definitely get one-on-one, well, group time. You're free to ask any questions. They are always there for support. As they learn, they change and add things to the program so it's always new. It's always new. We're always learning something else. So you can't get better than that, right?
Yeah, it's always new. We're learning, we're adding new things. It's very spontaneous. And you get into this sort of 5th dimensional energy when you're in the courses. And I think you had a taste of it today, where you feel like you're seeing things from a higher perspective. Why is that? Because you are. And when you're with like-minded people, it's a lot easier to do that. So we will be beginning September 10th, which is very soon. You can still enroll. You can go to the description page here, the shortened URL, tinyurl.com/spirit-guide-course to join. There's some special early bird discount savings too for you. And we hope to see you in the course. And it was great being with you today in any event and seeing you in the future in one way or the other. Jane, some final things you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I wanted to offer some homework.
For
We
people
actually we
getting
have
going.
we still have two more classes. This is just kind of an introduction. We have two classes coming up that anyone can attend. The next one, the getting started class, is like an overview, and then class number one, the real class number one, on September 17th. We also invite people to invite friends, anyone who might want to consider or just wants to be part of those classes is welcome. For homework, I wanted to, well, I would first say to connect with the truth in your heart every day. In the morning is a good time, and if you haven't already, try journaling, asking your heart, the whole heart, the healed heart, what the truth is about who you are, because it's generally very different from what we imagine we are. For homework, I also, something that I've been doing that I'm finding really helpful is I have this I am, the I am teachings practice on awakening in the morning. And again, this is before the brain takes over. So if you can think of it the minute you open your eyes, to just start breathing, and with the inhale it's I am, and exhale it could be a variety of things. I am divine. I am in tune with the infinite. I am a magnificent soul. I am the presence. I am one with the divine. Whatever feels good, and you can just be breathing and taking nice breaths and validating that you are a magnificent spiritual being who is in touch with the infinite, the creator of our reality, who resides in your heart. I find that very helpful.
It's a
So
great way to
just wanted
start
to
out.
share.
Great way to start out the day, or to do it anytime.
Yeah, anytime you wake up and realize, like, God is in me and my breath. Like I am God, or I am the infinite. I am one. Because ultimately, something we're going to also discuss a lot in this course is we're talking about embodiment. If we're talking about actually raising to a different perspective on ourselves, it's not just hearing something or thinking it once in a while, it's embodying it. I am divine. I am one with God.
So it's been great.
Also, I'm happy,
You can add that in.
I am here.
I'm aligned with the divine. That's good too.
Yeah,
So,
whatever feels good to you as you're breathing, just embodying the truth of who you are.
So we know we will be with some of you, and it was great being with all of you today, live or on replay. And there's a description page of the course here. Let me widen it out here at our website. And it begins, as I mentioned, September 10th. We have kept it very affordable for a single course or taking all three courses. And we know we'll be seeing some of you soon in that course. And it was great being with you now. And I'll stick around for after hours if people want to say anything else. Great being with everyone, becoming a creator and magician. We all deserve that. And the world needs us, especially now.